Are you making a huge mistake in your garden before it even begins? By simply just starting the wrong seeds in March, setting yourself up for weeks of frustration and eventual stunted growth. But if you get this right, you'll be ahead of the game with strong, healthy plants just in time for spring. Stick around because I'm gonna break down the seeds that you need to start this month and the ones that you should probably avoid this month as well. And I'll even go over the common mistakes that can ruin your season before it even begins. All right, so this is March in a cold climate. Snow is still everywhere and you're staring out the window itching to start planting again. You want to get a head start. You want to actually do something. So what you do is what a lot of people do and what a lot of beginner gardeners do. They grab all their seeds and get planting. And they'll be thinking, I'm so ready for gardening this year. I'm ahead of the game, I've got everything planted. And this is wrong, because not all seeds should be started in March. Some will just get too leggy, because it will be way too early, or they'll get too big in your small house like mine. So let's go through what to start in March, and also what to avoid. Let's go over the plants that you should be starting now, because they really need a head start. And we'll start with brassicas. That's your broccoli, that's your cauliflower, that's your Brussels sprouts. The list goes on. These are cool weather crops, which means they actually prefer chilly temperatures. If you start them 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost date, they'll be perfectly timed to move outside in the cool spring air. But here's the catch. They hate heat. If you wait too long to start them, they end up bolting, which is flowering too early. And then you're left with nothing. If you haven't started your peppers now is the time to do it. Hot or sweet, get them going. Peppers take forever to germinate. And they grow pretty slow as well. That's why starting them early is key. So they have enough time to actually produce fruit before the season ends. And those hot peppers, they'll take longer than the sweet peppers to germinate too. Peppers love warmth. So if your house is cold, consider a heat mat. But remember to take the heat mat away after the seeds have germinated. It's just meant to help start them. If you don't have a heat mat, you could use the top of a fridge or a sunny warm window. Another seed that you should start in March is eggplants or aubergines, depending where you are. It's a vegetable so good that they turned it into an emoji. Sometimes I'll just grow eggplants because I think the flowers are so pretty, but they are also pepper's best friend. They grow just as slow and need just as much warmth. Without a solid head start, you'll end up with a plant that looks great, but never actually produces anything. Also, another thing that you should be starting this month, flowers. Flowers like snapdragons, petunias, pansies, echinacea, geraniums, even marigolds. Flowers are the secret to a vibrant garden, but most people just ignore them. If you start them in March, they'll be stronger, healthier, and they'll also bloom earlier than anything you'd get at a nursery. But if you don't have the space, buying from a nursery is fine. Grow the most important crops when you have limited space. And of course, there are some seeds that you should not be planting in March. And I get it. You're excited, I'm excited, we want to get going, right? But with some seeds, that is a terrible idea. And one of those seeds is tomatoes. Look, I understand they are the #1 crop in the garden, at least for me anyway. And I've made this mistake so many times. You start them too early, they get leggy, or they get too big for your environment and my tiny house. By the time they get outside, they're overgrown and maybe a little weak as well. Although I do really want to get them started right now because I just want them. Another one to maybe not do this month is cucumbers, pumpkins, and squash. These guys hate being indoors, and really, even with a season as short as mine, you can still direct sow them. The problem is they vine and they grow crazy fast. They get root bound and sometimes they don't even transplant that well either. If you do want to start them inside, wait about 3 to 4 weeks before your last frost date, or just direct sow them when the chance of frost is gone. And I will say this again, starting seeds isn't about just tossing them in some dirt and there you go. There are a few big mistakes that can mess up your seedlings before they're even growing. I do have a full guide on this, a full video. I'll put that link in the description on how to start seeds. But let's go over it pretty quickly here. Give them enough light, keep them warm, but also not too warm, and water them, but not too much. That's the Goldilocks rule. Not too little, not too much. Keep them moist. So here's the game plan for March. Start the right seeds in March, brassicas, peppers, eggplants, and certain flowers. Don't start your tomatoes, squash, or cucumbers yet. This really is just a reminder for myself because I'm itching to get going with those. Give your seedlings proper light, warmth and water so they actually thrive, and harden them off slowly before moving them outside. Get all this right and you are going to have one of the best gardening years of your life. So thank you for checking out this video. Remember to like, comment and share it and subscribe. Also let me know in the comments what you're really excited to get going. And that video on the screen right now, that is the video that YouTube thinks you're going to enjoy the most. So go check it out.